Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Now, it's been a while since we've gotten to sit down and talk movies. A lot of stuff going on in the old life, and constantly just going lately. And then throwing getting sick. It's been tough to sit down and talk, but I've seen a bunch of movies, and this was a movie that I was already geared up to go see on opening night, man. Everything I had seen from trailers, some of the stuff I saw at Comic-Con, everything being talked about this film made me excited to want to go see it right away. I mean, you tell me Sam Mendes is doing a World War I film, and you tell me that he's doing it as a one-shot. I'm already in on it. Then, the weekend before it comes out, that's Sunday, right before that Thursday, the Golden Globes happens, and this movie takes home Best Picture, and Sam Mendes takes home Best Director, and now I'm like, I really need to go see this movie. I was so jacked. I was so excited. This movie lives up to every aspect of it. If you're asking me, I think the film that took home Best Ensemble at the SAGs last night, Parasite, that's the picture I'm giving the Oscar to. But if the Oscar goes to this movie, it ain't wrong, because what Sam Mendes pulls off, it's, you just sit there and you're dumbfounded by the fact that like they were able to do it at all, and the way in which it's executed, and you just sit there and your jaw is on the floor most of the movie, and you're falling off the edge of your seat the whole film, man. This thing was really, really, really good. I really enjoyed this film. What are we talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, man, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into 1917. As I said, this is Sam Mendes' look into World War I. And while it's not like, I'd say, a classic World War I movie, there's it feels more like an experience than a film at times. And it doesn't necessarily have like any immediate World War I storyline that you can like attach yourself to or be like, oh man, we're seeing these big battles. But we're following two characters on like a mission that basically has to last about the course of a day. They get like word that they got to go stop this like attack from happening because it's really a trap that's been set up by the Germans. And they get it like midday, and they got to get to where they're getting to by the next morning. And you just kind of go on this run with these two characters, and you just get to experience things, man. Like the visuals, the looks and feels all nail the World War I stuff. And then for the movie to be a one-shot, a one-take film, it's just mind-blowing. Now, it's not the first of that variety, right? Alfred Hitchcock technically did the first film that looked like one shot, one take with Rope. We've seen it most recently with Birdman, which happened to take home Best Picture the year that it did its one shot. And what's funny is when, you have something to compare to, right? Like Birdman, huge fan of that film, and Michael Keaton's tremendous, and the whole delivery and the way I'd never seen Rope. I'd never seen a movie do that. I'd seen long one tracking shots before, but for a whole film it was so impressive. And I remember when I went to go see it, I was like, there are maybe 3-4 spots in that film where like they could have taken a cut and kept going. When you watch 1917, you will see a lot more of those moments. I think I was up to like 6 or 7 within the first hour, but it's so much bigger than Birdman, right? Birdman you could do in one hallway, just going up and down, and it allowed for long, tracking shots and camera shots. This movie, and allowed itself for less, less chances of failure, as long as actors weren't screwing up their lines. Something like 1917, a war movie that involves explosions and some battle sequences and things that could go wrong that are external from the actors. Sam Mendes had to give himself spots where, okay, if something doesn't work over here, we can come back to this spot and not have to shoot 25 full minutes. But there are stretches of this film, man, that are like 20, 25 minutes where you're like, I don't know where the cut is. And you're not even thinking about the cut because you're just so engaged with what's happening on screen. The visuals in this film are beyond tremendous, man. From the way the movie shoots, I mean, there are times where I'm like, I think, like, how are they getting into some of these spots with the camera, like the way they follow, and just how it looks. You're constantly just astounded from that end of the movie. But then there are moments in this film where, like, there's a stretch where you have George McKay running through this kind of like little town with all these blown up, broken concrete buildings. And there's a massive fire that's going on, and it's dark. The lighting, just some of the most beautiful stuff I've seen on screen all year long. It really is a cinematic just wonder to watch visually. And like I said, from the action to what happens in the story, you're just engaged and constantly engaged throughout the film. Mendes is constantly pulling you in. He makes you care about these characters in a way where the formula of the movie and the way it's delivered really is like every second you're on the edge of your seat because it feels like it's all happening right there in that moment. Now, if the movie wasn't a one-shot, one-take film, I don't know if it would have been quite as impactful. Because it's a good story, and it's great for what the movie is trying to accomplish, but it doesn't necessarily deliver phenomenal performances, or have any of these like great, wonderful, like Tarantino-esque moments where like the dialogue or the writing is just so sharp and so on point. I mean, we get really solid performances from Dean Charles Chapman, who you guys should all remember as Tommen from Game of Thrones, and George McKay. They're both fine. They do good work. But they don't blow you away, man. Their performances aren't super memorable to themselves, as Lance Corporal Blake or Lance Corporal Schofield. But because of the way Mendes does everything, it makes it look like it's just one shot. You are completely engaged in what they're doing, and when things are going down or there's trouble. And the other thing too is the fact that like they have a deadline. They have to go from here to here by a certain amount of time, which puts a ticking clock on it, which in and of itself adds to the, oh my gosh, dude, like, are they going to pull this off? Like, this is, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what drives the movie. And like I said, you get fine performances from Chapman and McKay. I mean, McKay just looks wonderful because he's got these big blue eyes, dude. And like when things are going on, he gets a lot of dirt thrown in him at his face right up early on. It just like, it captures all this like wonder and like, that stuff just works wonderfully. Like I said, the visuals in this movie are really the driving force behind it. And while we got solid performances from our leads, we do have some real nice, notable performances from our supporting cast. Colin Firth and Mark Strong certainly jump to mind when you go, wow, like the stuff they bring in the very, very short amount of time that they have, really, really good stuff, man. Like both of them just remind you, like, they're so good. And yes, there is one other kind of big cameo in this movie, Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch. And while I think he's fine, he's solid in what he has to do. Not a whole lot for him. But Sam Mendes is just, he's the winner in this movie. What he does from a visual, technical standpoint, along with his cinematographer and just, the technical crew, it's just mind-blowing to watch, man. It's like one of those things where, like, me sitting here talking about it doesn't do a whole lot. It's like, you got to go see it. And it really is truly an experience. And something that should be seen on the big screen because it's made for the big screen. And the action in the movie is great. Like I said, the ticking time bomb of like, we have to get this done before this happens certainly drives up the anxiety level in the movie because you're pulling for our main characters, but you really worry and don't know what's going to happen. And there's some really nice twists and turns and surprises along the route. And like I said, you can't get over the fact that it looks like one shot. Like, it's so impressive from that standpoint that, like I said, if it wins the Oscar, you can't be mad about it because it's an unbelievable achievement to pull this off. And the technique that Mendes applies to the movie is really what drives it and really is what makes it succeed. And, sometimes you can have just a solid film that gets elevated because of, a certain, technical angle or an individual performance. And here, the performance of Sam Mendes behind the camera, and directing and just coming up with this and pulling it off is wonderful. And then, like I said, the other thing, like with the visuals too, is the look of it feels like a World War I movie, man. You get the trenches, and I love seeing the difference between like the British trenches and the German trenches, and we get to see that. And there are things in the movie where you're just like, wow, man. Like I'd seen last year, They Shall Not Grow Old, tremendous World War I documentary, and there are moments in the film where I was like, that came right out of like that movie. So when you have all that stuff working, and the one shot technique just is so impressive, you end up with a movie that's got a real fighting shot at the Oscars, and it'll be a lot of fun to see. Both from the director's standpoint, a lot of good directors, and Mendes got to be near the top there. And the movie, it'll be fun to see how it all plays out when we get to the big show. But for me, I was a big fan, dude. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's that you can't say it enough. The fact that you did a World War I movie in a one-shot, one-take format, it's just mind-blowing, dude. You gotta go out, you gotta go see it. It's just tremendous. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm just saying the same thing over and over and over. But 1917, I thought was really, really awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. The question is, what are you thinking, man? Did you go see 1917? Have you seen one-shot movies before? Was this your first experience with one of them? How effective is the one-shot technique in the film for you? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think the movie, that was the only thing going for it? If it wasn't a one-shot movie, would it have worked as well as it did? What visuals really like stood out to you? What parts of the movie, without spoiling, but things that were going on, what was working or not working for you? And if you haven't seen 1917, has the Seaman enticed you? I hope so, man. Like I said, this is one that you should definitely go out, check out in the movie theater, because it's something to behold. So anything you're thinking about 1917 goes down below in the comments section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, welcome hanging out with the OC Man anytime we talking on some movies, television, trailers. Jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Come join the Cinema Sit Down squad where we have fun talking movies, TV, and trailers all the time. You want to hang out, pop up in your list so you know when things are going on. Boom, the subscribe button will do that for you. If you really like to see, man, hit that alert bell that follows it. You'll get alerts every time I make a video, so you're the first in to see what we're talking about. And until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I'm the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace.
Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.